And the winner is Arctic Monkey!
That subscriber content, eh? That subscriber content, it just won't go away.
It might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp. I think the cyclical nature of the universe in which it exists demands it adheres to some of its rules.
But it's always waiting there, just around the corner, ready to make its way into your ears and smash through the gated payment system, sounding better than ever.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Benefits such as getting ad-free episodes a week early with pre- and post-show chat relating to the monkeys, last Shadow Puppets episodes, bonus podcasts, watch-alongs, plus helping us improve our sound with better equipment and services.
Yeah, this podcast seems like it's fading away sometimes, but with subscribers, it will never die. Thank you very much for listening. We do truly appreciate it. Don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah, we'll invoice you for the subscription if we need to.
We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello and welcome once again to Don't Believe the Hype, the 8-time Grammy nominated, but still not won, podcast all about... Did you not know we've been nominated for Grammys, mate?
I did, but I didn't want to think about it because I can't believe we never won one.
Yeah. That's my fault for not opening my post. Maybe I would have known. Yes, every week we are going chronologically through the discography of the band of a generation, Arctic Monkeys, going track by track by track, and we will finish in about 15 years' time. With me, Nick, and him has been fighting with his sheets. I am not bloody surprised because I know what he does in them sheets. It's Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hello, how are you?
How are we? I'm wonderful.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's Friday.
I'm good.
It's Friday night.
It is Friday. It's Friday, baby. I am good because this song has been a joy to listen to this week,
It has.
and yeah, interesting one because I love it, Nick. I love this song.
It's a great tune.
This song could.
Tune.
It's early days, but this song could end up being my number one on the album, as far as I'm concerned, this week.
Oh, big words for me. That
It is
but
big. It's
for
big
for
words,
obvious
but
reasons, but that might. But I never thought Cornerstone had not been my favourite Arctic Monkeys song, and it's been
exactly
in the last
things
few
are
weeks.
changing.
So
In fact, we're on that vibe. Although before we say it, hopefully we will get Grammy nominated again for AM coverage because Arctic Monkeys had loads of success at the Grammys. Oh no, wait, they didn't. Yeah. Funny
Yeah.
that, isn't it? Didn't even get nominated
it's
in
soon,
Best
though, innit?
International Band, Best Album and International Band because there was loads of great British albums that year. Right.
didn't win anything for Chun Li's Spinning Bird Kick either. Fucking disgrace.
I can't believe that's like the only Arctic Monkey song that's ever been nominated
Blows
for a
my
Grammy.
mind. Blows my
still-
mind. That does.
That's still the best fact we've ever revealed on this podcast, I think.
It's a great pub quiz
Um,
question, that isn't it? If we ever host an Arctic Monkeys pub quiz,
Oh,
that's
God,
on
yeah.
there.
What's the only song to be nominated by Arctic Monkeys to be nominated for a Grammy? Yeah, that is a great question because I'd love to know.
People
who
will
get it.
literally bottle us.
Listeners of this podcast will get it. And if we were doing a Arctic Monkeys, we should get in touch with the pub and say, we do a podcast. Can we do a Arctic Monkeys quiz in one of you? But if we timed it like with an album release, the next album release or something, maybe whenever that will be. I did just want to say because we had a bit of listener correspondence from old Justin that was on the Straight Chilling Pod that was on our Christmas episode. He sent me a message bit after our My Propeller stuff.
Oh,
And he said he was glad to have us back, which is always nice to hear. He was super surprised to hear Nick say that My Propeller was his favourite Arctic Monkeys song for a while. Hot take, he said, but I think My Propeller is the worst opening song out of all the Monkeys albums. Now, yeah. So first of all,
I would say,
so
now, knowing what I know now, it quite possibly is. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't beat The View from the Afternoon.
Yeah.
It
Doesn't beat
I
Rhinestone.
think it's a better song. It doesn't. I don't know. It's definitely a well more put together song, but in terms of an impactful album opener, no, it doesn't beat Brian Storm. Doesn't beat She's Thunderstorms is probably the closest one to it, but I do really love
It's
She's
it
Thunderstorms.
is, yeah.
And it's a scene setter. It's a plate, set laying the table for the rest of the album. She's Thunderstorms, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very much.
Perfect,
As
yeah.
is
Save
my
that
propeller.
for the next series.
Yeah, it's good that, wasn't it?
You'll
Wasted
need
it.
that.
I'm full of them at the minute. My propeller does the same though. To be fair, you could argue for this album.
You could.
But obviously, Do I Want to Know is a really good album opener as well. And yeah, Star Treatment is a really good album opener as well. A lot of people listening to this will probably have My Propeller over Star Treatment though. Maybe I'm not sure what our kind of fan base of Tranquility is. I think it's okay. I guess we'll find out when we start covering it if the numbers dramatically fall. But I think it's okay.
Sure.
There's people that subscribe and people that actually regularly love Tranquility anyway. So I assume most people really like it that listen.
I mean, it's worth bearing in mind.
You'd have to still be into them to listen to this, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? To listen to this, you'd have to still be quite into them. Yeah, I think so. So.
But I had 2 years between this album and Suck It and See. There was 2 years for this to be. So I hadn't recognised at that point that it was. I mean, at that point, it probably was the worst opening track. But yeah, for a while, I was obsessed with this song. But then, yeah, Suck It and See came out, and that changed things. But there was a longer wait for a new album than we'd previously had at that point.
But I think what he's surprised by from his reaction here is we understand that when Suck It and See comes out, you change your mind about that. But it's the fact that implies that this was your favourite song of the Humbug album for the whole 2-year period before Suck It and See came out. I think that's what he's kind of saying because he goes on to say he always had My Propeller in the bottom half of his Humbug list. I always saw it as a solid type of album track similar to stuff like Old Yellow Bricks. He's saying that to wind me up. He's saying that to wind us up, isn't he? He knows.
Right.
We know what you try to do there. I didn't bait on the message. Or Red Light Indicates doors are secure. I think it's better than Red Light Indicates, and
yeah,
it's got more to it than that. I would say. I think that's an unfair. I'd say if I was going to say sturdy album track to compare My Propeller to, it would be. I was going to say If You Were There Beware, but that feels too bold a statement. So I'm going to say
stop it.
Like a sort of. Oh, you might be right because I can't think of anything. There's a single to compare it to off that album anyway. If I was to compare it one off, I'd say it's a solid track like a
Balaclava.
It's better. I think it's better than that though. I definitely liked it more covering it because I just felt this is a really good song that doesn't get maybe the respect it deserves, much like Tonight's, let's say. He said he thinks making it a single, like he agreed with us that basically it's weaker because it was made a single and it's not a great single, which I agree with, and I think the band would agree with as well because they originally were going to do Pretty Visitors. So yeah, I think his surprise is that you had it as number one before Suck It and See because I never, for example, would have had this as a number. I like it, I'm defending it, but I never would have. I think for a long time this Tonight, Dangerous Animals. Potion Approaching in that period, Potion Approaching, Dance Little Liar, and such were my favourites of Humbug. Not my Propeller kind of used to get overlooked, to be fair, back in the day. So yeah, I think he was just surprised that it was your favourite for a long period.
What
of time.
can I say? I'm a weird guy.
Yeah, no, nothing weird about it, mate. I'm just listening to feedback, not me.
Yeah. It surprises me as well.
I love you, even if Justin hates you. You know, so
good. Thank you.
I'll go out with you, even if
you're a monkey Owen.
But yeah, no. So yeah, Dangerous Animals tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, should we have a listen to it?
I brought props tonight as well to help us. I brought the Humbug lyric final sleeve and production notes as well, just in case we want to check anything. Information to clarify, fresh from. Although, as we know from previous experience, these can potentially be wrong, but it's the best we can get really as a reliable source.
Find out.
Unless we have a band member on, and even they don't know some of the song things as we learned from the Drug Kennedy. So,
no.
How are we the fuck supposed to know? But there you go.
Well, let's.
Oh yeah, I'm curious about what the clip is. Have you gone Reading? Have you gone Zane Lowe? Let's find out. Have you gone somewhere else?
It's the latter, baby. We're going Zane Lowe.
Woo! Yeah. I always loved the one on Zane Lowe as well.
It's great, isn't it? It's great. Let's have 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Unfortunately, I know why a big part of why you love it so much will be the different start, won't it? But I've decided I wanted the end of the song rather than the start. so we don't have the start. But
I
as
love
is
it.
sang, every end has a start.
If I'm being honest, as will become apparent as is ever when there's a great Helder song, is I love just watching that because I can see Helders doing these amazing drums. So that's pretty much the only. Yeah,
Okay,
I can hear the drums
you're
more.
in luck then,
Like
mate.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially the
You're in
breakdown
luck,
bit. Yeah,
baby.
but yeah. Go on then. Let's have
Let's
it.
have a look.
Let's have it.
2 minutes and 10 seconds of gold coming up. Hit it, boys.
UKT.
The lights it fidgets through. The thoughts will soon revert to you. About as bashful as a tribal dance, the first and final chance, and cause the audience of frighteners and fiends, divided up into two teams. When the acrobat fell off the beam, she broke everyone's heart. I'm pinned down by the dark. A-N-I-M-A-L makes my head pirouette. More than I would be willing to confess. D-A-N-G-R-O-U-S, D-A-N-G-R-O-U-S, the most unsuitable pets. It's been long enough now, so let's necromancer lioness. Pinned down by the dark. Pinned down by the dark. Oh. D-A-N-G-R-O-U-S, A-N-I-M-A-L, D-A-N-G-R-O-U-S, A-N-I-M-A-L.
Summerstock is such a mid-2000s name for a festival or something, isn't it? It's Summerstock. Should
Sorry,
we
I
think
can't
of a
hear
proper name for this? No, we'll call it Summerstock.
Summer stock. Sorry, you know what? So the breakdown of the drums there, just every time I see that, I'm in a complete awe of what he's doing there. It's kind of like he's going so fast to the different drums, but it hit me, Mike. I got so excited. But what really shot me then was the bass. That bass sounds fucking incredible. Rickenbacker, I believe it looks like it is playing.
Yeah, Rickenbacker. It's fat as well, isn't it? Ooh,
Oh god, that
fat,
was
juicy
that
bass there.
that because I don't think the bass on the album track, I didn't really. It sounded a bit like Miles then for a second. Bass on the album track.
That's more like Paul McCartney than.
I changed it. I went back.
Kane,
I accidentally did a Miles Kane Liverpool accent, and then I went back and tried to do an actual Liverpool accent and couldn't.
Like Paul McCartney, I loved it.
Hey Paul, that then when he was doing it was beautiful because on the album track I don't really feel like you can hear it as much apart from that bit in the second verse that he was doing then, but there it sounded fucking incredible. Wow, I was blown away by that then. I haven't heard that for a while.
Meaty.
Meaty. Yeah, God, good old Nick, eh? Good old Nick. But I'm sure we'll get into all of that shortly. Shall we have some? We need to try and find the Zane Lowe interview for that as well, don't we? To cover, but we can't. We might have to.
Yes,
We were trying to see if there was an old
try and
torrent
dig
of
them
it, which
out.
is hopeful at best. But might have to contact Zane.
Yeah, I found a torrent, but it wasn't seeded.
Yeah, that's the problem, innit? Oh.
It's like a
Do you want some
Satsuma.
Do you want some information?
The information action ratio, ain't that the place to go?
Dangerous Animals is 3 minutes and 30 seconds long, and it has just 41.6 million streams on Spotify, which is the lowest so far. Not the lowest overall on the album, but the lowest so far. Below that, I can't believe it. Annoying. It is 125 beats per minute and is in the key of E major. We're into the majors. We're out of the minors. Way, woo! I fought the law and I won. The song, the song has been played live only 51 times by the band, unfortunately. Firstly, on January 13th, 2009, at Wellington Town Hall, Wellington, like last week. And lastly, on March 28th, 2010, at the O2 Shepherd's Bush, Empire, London. So it never made it out of the Humbug tour, which is
No.
very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out how many of them there are. I think there'll be a few more that didn't make it. Because my propeller came back, didn't it? So
I think it's a real shame, to be honest. I think it's a real
Yeah.
shame because I think it deserves a. I think it's better than some of them that have. Well, not bad, but I'd rather see it than My Propeller, but because My Propeller was made a single by proxy, it doesn't. But I'd love to see this insert. I just yeah. You know what? I'd love a tour. Just forget about the crowds and just. You did it this time. You did a lot of fan service this tour, even though they still moaned about it. But you did a lot of fan service. The next tour, let's just take out some of the old classics like Dance Floor and shit, and let's bang in some of these bangers. Like just one tour. I could give up those ones and have some of the lesser ones in there. It's never going to happen. I can dream. Would you do that? Would you forgo like ones we've heard a million times?
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, well, you were cutting me off like the Oscars then.
I got so excited at the thought of a show of just songs we wanted that I accidentally hit the space bar. I didn't
No,
realise the
just like-
space bar plays the previous jingle again. But I
There
do
you go, you
now.
got a shotgun now. I thought it was like the Oscars when the speech goes on too long and they play the music to get them off the stage. But no, I just don't. I could go to one gig and like, okay, I've heard Dance Floor a lot for Adolescent. Let's say Dangerous Animals. Let's say Pile Driver Waltz. Let's have
So Jeweler's
eccentric-
Hands, please.
Jeweler's Hands. Yeah, ugh. Yeah. We should go back and savor that tour more because you'll never hear some of them
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah.
I wish I'd
But, oh,
enjoyed
well.
Evil Twin more on the Suck It and See tour.
Yeah. What a surprise it was. It was even a surprise in that gig. But yeah, it's gone. Never made out the Humbug tour. So Nick, it's time to play Ford or Hummy. I should make a little jingle for this. I might put something together, but other than that, I don't know what. Ford or Hummy, Ford, hum, a Ford, Ford or hum, hum, a Ford. I don't know what I'm doing. It's the Batman theme.
No, but I don't know why that was what you went for.
I don't know what I could
I'm
do.
all
It
for
could
it.
be like a sort of. But oh, my keyboard's not plugged in, so that didn't work, did it? Oh yeah, I forgot I unplugged it. It's embarrassing. I've had nightmares about that. I'm usually naked though. But no, Ford or Hom, Nick. Ford or Hommy? What do you reckon?
I'm going for the Josh Meister. I think it's Mr. Joshua Homme.
You would be right
Homme,
because track 3 was produced by Joshua Homme, engineered by Alan Johans, assisted by Justin Smith, recorded at Rancho de la Luna, and
I'm full John Peel there.
thanks. And that's it, really. That's information on this one. To Hutch and Dave, thanks for your hospitality. Funnily enough,
Just a minute.
this is something to discuss, though. John Ashton isn't getting a. No, John Ashton isn't getting a nod for this one on keys. I thought that was a key sound on. It must be Alex, because on the live one he is doing that sound, isn't he? But it must have been old Al in the
allow
studio.
me to double check Wikipedia.
Well, let me tell. Well, what rather than the actual fucking vinyl sleeve that came with it, with the credits in it. Would you can trust
Yeah,
Wikipedia
well,
over that? Or that's the actual official credits, which they might get the lyrics wrong because it comes from the band, but they can't get the credits wrong because they get fucking sued because people get money for that forever.
Well, according to Wikipedia, it has Alex Turner keyboards tracks 3 and 4. So there we go.
Yeah.
Tracks
See, the
3,
thing is,
4, 6, 8, 9, 10.
yeah, it doesn't break down the keys on this. It just kind of says, because I don't think they want to repeat themselves, so they just put words by Alex Turner, music by Arctic Monkeys. It's faster in it, and then anyone else just gets. But we can confirm that John Ashton did
Yeah,
backing
without
vocals on
questions.
My Propeller and Crying Lightning, though.
did.
What it sounds to me like is, I don't know, John Ashton was at both then. He must have come in for a day at a bit of De Luna and then gone to a bit of Ford as well, because he's on some of the ones from that time as well.
Yeah, you better believe we're only 3 weeks away from additional vocals from someone that I absolutely adore. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
looking at that right now. Although That's going to be an interesting week. That's all I'll say. But
It's going to be an interesting week.
all tracks mixed by our friend Rich Costy, as we discussed last week. But although we didn't get to make fun of him as much as we'd have with people before, because it turns out he'd done a lot of stuff and he was quite well renowned. Although he didn't he have something? He had a creepy. Didn't he have a
radio?
Wasn't it like Rich, like
The
octopus
grabber.
hands?
The octopus.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Basically,
like-
Rich, the sexual assault of Costy was his knitter. That's libelous.
Yeah, it's like Rich, don't be alone with him, Costy, or something. Wasn't it?
yeah.
Rich, keep your
Rich
drink.
jazz
Don't keep your
hands,
drink unattended.
So yeah, it was homie, but yeah, that bit is very radio, but that's the nature of it, I guess. I got a little bonus
win a
round for you, though.
copy of the brand new third album from Arctic Monkeys.
If you want
and send a
to-
stamped addressed envelope, and please do get permission from the people who pay the bill before you write
If you
in.
want to win a
or phone in.
voucher to buy some new paint from what was that website from last week? I can't remember. Crying Lightning paint. But yeah, I got a little bonus round for you, Nick.
Lovely.
One of several tonight.
I'll have to scroll all the way down to find
Jeez.
the thing.
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
I forgot to mention last week with the Crying Lightning. Crying Lightning had the most streams on the album. So Crying Lightning is the number one stream song on the album. Makes sense. Can you tell me what you think the most streamed on the next album is?
Like the next
Yeah,
album
one guess.
being
One guess, so
Suck
think
It and
carefully.
Say- Oh, right. Well, I'm going to go for Don't Sit Down, Somebody's Chair.
You would be incorrect. The most streamed song on the next
Really?
album, yes, it is closer, but the next stream song on the most streamed song on Suck It and See is the title track itself, Suck It and See, with
That was
95.3
my next
million.
guess.
That's because it's the best song on the album, as we'll
It's
see next
correct,
series.
yeah.
Perhaps might change. Always subject to change and availability is like it's going very radio. I don't like it.
Yeah,
Quick,
yeah.
quit the gear jingle. That'll bring us back round.
Let's scroll up again, shall I? Brilliant.
Technological advances really blooming get me in the mood.
But if you want to stay being my producer, then you have to fucking scroll, all right? That's how it is. I'll let you talk.
You used to scroll
I'll
for
let you
jingles in
interact.
Series 1.
Yeah, we have increased just over the past 2 weeks alone. We've increased jingles off on the fly that we've had to try and remember ourselves.
Fourfold.
Yeah, listening back to the episode on Wednesday, my propeller going, "Oh yeah, we said we'd do that." So you didn't hear that last week, probably. But so the gear, it was a difficult one. This one, difficult one to get any sort of confirmation. But as we saw there, Rickenbacker, and also there's a lot of crossover between the songs because they were using the same guitars and stuff like that. But again, for this song, for Alex's guitar, if you use a heroin pedal, as discussed last week, again set to again set to 100 on the master. No, sorry, 100. They're set to 10 o'clock on the master, 5 o'clock on the pre gain, and 11 o'clock on the high cut with the bright setting turned off, but the sustain on. You're going to get a good sound of Alex's guitar, and that goes for the solo as well. And for Jamie's, the same pedal, you turn down that pre to 3 o'clock and have this turn the sustain off, and you're going to get some lovely Jamie Cook sounds. But if you want some Jamie Cook special jangly sounds from this song,
Which,
you wanna
let's be honest, we all do.
we all do. If you want to recreate that, by the way, tonight there's going to be something we hear that means that this fan base needs to start putting respect on that man's name more. And I'm determined that if anything will come out of this pod, it is that people will start appreciating Jamie Cook. But anyway, more on that later. But if you want to recreate his jangly Jamie Cook specials, use the Collider pedal, the delay and reverb settings, and you're going to get some lovely Jamie Cook special sounds there. One thing I did note on this when I was looking, there's an hour-long version of this song on YouTube that someone's put together, which is literally just this song on a loop for an hour. For what purpose? I don't know.
There is.
It says for sleep purposes, but I don't think it would help me go to sleep, to be honest. I need people speaking
it's
to me
not
to
the-
sleep. It's not music wants me to get up. I listen to music to
Mind
like go, unless it was like, something a bit downbeat. But even then, music.
There's nothing worse
me
than
awake.
like going to sleep to the Ricky Gervais podcasts and then being awoken by like.
Oh yeah, or sometimes even like I'll just I'm falling asleep, something will make me laugh, and I'll laugh involuntarily out loud, and then I'll be awake
Yeah,
again. But yeah, so I listen to that Ricky Gervais or a bit of rain sounds, stormy sounds. But
Lovely
yeah,
rain
but an hour long version of D's for Dangerous, D's for Dangerous Animals. Oh, there's a mashup no one wants.
Oh, well.
Both good bass lines. But hour long version on YouTube if you want it. It's out there if you want to fall asleep to it. Also,
Or,
if you think it only takes me
controversially-
an hour to fall asleep with this fucking brain, then you're having a laugh for a start.
Brave.
Let alone imagining Alex and
Controversially, you
Howard.
could just go on Spotify and just put the song on repeat. Same effect.
Yeah, you don't really need it. I don't know why they've wasted the time, to be honest. But I'm assuming it was before that. Maybe it's an old video. Didn't look. I don't care. But I also found out on this that Alex's singing on this song is in G minor with a vocal range of between D4 to G5. So there you go. So for some people might know what that means. Well, there you go. That's what it is. But this led me to another bonus round, Nick. So get scrolling, baby.
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
Can you tell me which song Alex sings in the lowest pitch in the whole discography? If you had to guess.
No.
Because I found this website that lists them all. You had to guess. Right. And then you can tell me the highest as well. And I'll give you one clue. They're both on the same album.
Right, I think we go in.
So an album with good
Is it
vocal range would be kind of a clue there, I suppose.
Tranquility. Let's say.
I'm going to narrow it down to 10 songs for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking for other songs with good vocal range, then that's probably where your mind would go, I would say.
So the lowest pitch, I'm going to say American Sports.
No, it's Star Treatment, apparently.
Oh,
I mean, he's basically
I was
talking,
gonna
isn't
say
it?
Star Treatment, but there's a few in there that might bring the average
I think it's probably an average, yeah. And what would you say is the highest? Then you were right, it is on Tranquility then. So what would you say the highest pitch on Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino is?
Is it 5? Is it
I
4
think you
out
might
of
get this one.
5?
It is 4 out of 5, yes.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have thought
We'll
that. You
learn
see,
something.
it's interesting. Well, yeah. I would have thought that like Mirrorball in itself kind of hits both of those spectrums, doesn't it? Like, 'cause he's got that quite a very good vocal range in that. I think his best vocal range ever, Mirrorball. And I mean, between that and Sweet Dreams TN, anyway, in terms of a vocal performance. But yeah, but I do think Mirrorball pips Sweet Dreams now. So, do you want some? Shall we have some reviews of the song?
I think it'd be rude not to. That's what people have come to.
Everything they've come to expect. Pitchfork said, "Dangerous Animals is jaw-dropping." Not a long review, but correct. Uncut gave Humbug a 2-star review,
Dickheads.
but liked Dangerous Animals out of all the tracks, saying it's also sticky with sleaze. Let's make a mess lioness grows Turner, the kind of fabulous come on, half tongue in cheek, but still effective that would be unthinkable on previous Arctic Monkeys records. So not a fan of the album, but a fan of the song. But the Telegraph gave Humbug 4 stars, but it had a paywall, so I couldn't see the song review. However, hit that bonus round button again.
I could have sent you a thing to get past the paywalls.
Why'd you pay for the Telegraph?
No, but there's a.
I thought that seemed very unlikely for you, A, to pay for something, and B, for it to be a Tory
No,
newspaper.
If you just Google bypass paywalls, it's well easy. There's loads of things. But here, have you
I was like finding out.
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
I thought for a minute when I thought that you had paid for the Telegraph, but it was like finding out like a Scouser reads the Sun. It was like, what's going on in my brain? But how do you get past the paywalls on the newspapers? Is it legal for us to be talking about this in public? Statute of limitation.
Public. like, talk about it in your house, but not on the street.
No, this is going out to
there's-
millions of people.
There's a website called
take-
12 Foot Ladder, and you just put the link in, and that bypasses a paywall for you.
Ah, okay. Oh, good, because there's a couple of articles I want to read. There you go. That's my evening sorted. What's it called again?
I'll
For
send
the
it to you.
listeners. For the listeners.
So if you Google 12 Foot Ladder, 12 Foot Ladder, and it's 12ft.io is a popular paywall passing site.
I'll just Google that. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Nick. So the bonus round. So what I did see before the paywall went up.
Look at me giving IT advice. I love that.
It's not IT advice, is it? It's some dodgy site that you found. Like you giving dodgy
but you're
site
doing it
advice is on
on a
brand,
computer.
but IT advice isn't. I'm not going to ring you when like Microsoft Teams stops working when I'm trying to work, am I? But if I want some, if I want to find something,
fucking a horse.
yeah, or if I need something like, oh, can I get that for free? Who would know how I could get something for free that you'd normally pay for? Oh, that's what you're. Yeah. So what I did see was this had the cost of the CD upon release at the top, because that reviews used to have the cost of the CD at the top in the English dollar. Can you guess that price?
The English dollar being the pound.
Yes, I said it that way for
Okay,
comedic
just
effect.
Yeah, I thought so, but I was just making sure. 10.99.
Final answer.
Oh, I said it.
No, it was £13.70
Very reasonable.
for a classic album like this. I would say so. Yeah. Okay. Strangest bonus round ever, but I thought it was interesting. We don't get that a lot. We don't get to see that a lot, so I thought, well, there you
Never gonna have a bonus round like that again.
go. Never say never.
That was a bonus round, the like of which the world has never seen the like of which.
No, actually, because there probably wasn't as much of a. Yeah, it might not come up after this album as much. That might be a one and done. Enemy's greatest list, as ever. They put Dangerous Animals at an atrocious, in my opinion. Bearing in mind this is what 120 out of 120, something like that. The full thing, an atrocious, including B-sides, an atrocious 90 on Enemy's greatest song list. This falls out.
It's insane.
And
That's
you know,
insane.
when we come to do the full list, judge properly then.
Yeah.
But still, that is yeah, I don't know. Would it be outrageous to say fuck off, Enemy? But what they did say about it was, with its swampy riff progression and mnemonic refrain, be honest, ANIMAL is a pesky earworm at best. The languorous Dangerous Animals meanders a little with its swampy riff progression and mnemonic refrain. Oh, hang on, I've just copied the same thing twice. So ignore that.
Like you say that again.
That's all we want to hear from them anyway. Twats. That's atrocious, that 90, in my opinion. Awful
Yeah,
take.
piss poor that.
We've definitely had ones higher than that. They didn't deserve to be higher than that. So yeah, but we'll see when we come to do it. Maybe I'll go, oh, shit, I'm gonna have to put it at number 90. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. I don't think so though. But we have got a lot more ground to cover in the discography though. This will just be a distant memory by then. So do you want to have a chat about the music of this one? Music.
I think we shouldn't we? It's great. That riff is so far. This may be the dirtiest riff we've had.
Oh yeah, I'd
think
say
that-
so.
I think we've properly jumped up a notch from even the
yeah.
dirtiest stuff on Favourite's Nightmare.
Yeah, I wrote. I do love the guitar and the bass riff. I thought we're getting that similar Monkey's World with that kind of guitar riff, but I did write, but it's just dirtier. So yeah, I would agree. It's so desert rock and cool. It has some swagger, this song as well, that I think we haven't really seen since the first album. Maybe Teddy Picker. I'll give him Teddy Picker, but maybe Teddy Picker. Like an option. Teddy Picker. From Teddy Picker. Anyway. I wouldn't. Yeah, there's a bit of swagger to the first album that I don't think is in. It's in Teddy Picker, perhaps, but I don't think it's in Brainstorm, maybe, but it's not in the rest of Favourite's Nightmare. I don't think the swagger. But
No, absolutely.
I mean, some people will be going, "Oh, Jello Bricks, the bad thing," and I'll be going, "No." We've
Just
covered
pretend those two
that.
songs don't exist.
Wait till I put that at 90. But yeah, they had that pretty high actually. Objectively speaking, no matter how much I think about that song, if I go back to before we got a distaste in our mouths for old Jello Bricks, I
course.
still wouldn't have had it higher than Dangerous Animals, but by any stretch, or any song off this album, I don't think, to be quite honest with you. I think a lot of Favorite Worst Nightmare is going to fall by the wayside, unfortunately, but a lot of it will also be up there, to be fair, as well. It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag.
The ones from Favorite Worst Nightmare that are up there will be up there.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, there won't be any. There's not going to be any middle ground for Favorite Worst Nightmare. There's not going to be any Favorite Worst Nightmare in like the 50 area, is there? It's all going to be. It's going to be all or nothing. To quote the,
I might collect
Prime
everything we've said about our top list, and then I'll come play it back when we get to do the list and just see how wrong we were about a lot of it.
That'll be a good venture. We could be arsed then. Yeah,
Can't be arsed now.
Love it. But before we jump the gun with the guitar riff, because the drums, as are going to be a lot of folks in this song, that intro, they just set the start, that like, you know, the pin down by the dark, and then it kind of very much a Teddy Pickers type start or a Fate Tales type start, but in a different way. In this way, this is like, it's like Fake Tales of Luna de Rancho, whatever it's called. Luna de Rancho? Was it Luna de Rancho? Cinco de Mayo? I don't know. I'm all lost.
Rancho de Luna.
Rancho de Luna. Looney Lovegood. But it is
Spanish GCSE, mate.
Yeah. A to C.
C.
I stumbled upon by mistake.
That's
I stumbled upon.
there.
I can't, yeah, good one. Let's get over it. I talked to. I accidentally found I can't say why I found it, but I found an MEN newspaper website article from the day I got my GCSEs that listed all of our year's GCSEs, including mine. I'd forgot how little effort I put in. That's all I'll say. I did really well at the subjects that I enjoyed. That's all I'll say. Anything else, I was just not interested. It's always been the story of my life. If I really like something, I'll do it. But if I don't, you can't get me to do it.
I did all right in the GCSEs, and then when I was enrolling for college, the teacher who was enrolling me at college, she was a Spanish teacher, and she's like, "Oh, see, you got a B in French GCSE. Do you fancy doing a Spanish GCSE at college in a year?" I was like, "Yeah, all right then." And then within like a week, I was like, "It's all right. This is like better than French."
Do you think she was making an equally bad joke when she said, "I see you got a B in your Spanish"?
No.
GCSE?
I was taught by her for a year. She was not capable of making jokes.
Okay, I mean, neither are you, just off that last joke.
Neither was the French teacher, right? Because I did French A level, and what you had to do, you had to watch some like French news report that was obviously in French, and then at the end you had to say what it was about. And on this news report, they had a load of farmers, and they were holding cauliflowers on sticks at the protest. They had like cauliflowers on big sticks and holding them up. And at the end, the teacher turned it off, and he's like, "Oh, what's it about?" And then the girl next to me said, "Oh, is it about salaries?" And I went, "No, it's about cauliflowers," and got kicked out. So that's what you get for making jokes in a French A level.
You probably didn't hear the correct answer, but was it mad cow disease? Just based off the time.
No, it was about the farmers not getting paid enough. They weren't blaming the British for this one, unbelievably.
Don't have a go at the French. We all know you want him to be with Alexa. Right, shall we? You fangirl. But yeah, no, drums setting the start straight away. You know, I love the timing in this as well. Like the stops in the verse are so well placed. Like when it's doing that, it's that noise in the background as well in the verses. That sort of like
yes.
Ding, ding. It always reminds me of when you're in like a warehouse or something and you can hear people like making noise in the background, working like glass being clanked or something like that. Kind of like ding.
Yeah.
It's like a very industrial sound. This in the background. I'm not quite sure what's creating it or what's going on. Although we might find out in a different segment of the show later, actually. But you know what I did think though, actually, that noise, you know what it reminded me of, that clinking noise? Have you got it in your head? The noise? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I felt like it was a similar sound to the 4 out of 5 sound that we use for the lyric alarm on this podcast. I noted, like an early adopter of that. Yeah, if you listen to the track, it's very similar, but like more distant and quiet, and it's like an early adopter of that song, that sound. The early days, the things coming through, the experimentation coming through. But yeah, the way from because the verse is great, but the way it changes into the chorus so smoothly as well. That I love about this song. There's flow of this song in there. Yeah, and the Jamie Cook specials as well. Very cool in the chorus. It's like the chorus is weird because it's like grimy, palm muted kind of build up chord. You know what I mean? Like it's cool when they do the palm muting in anything, but this one's like this. It's unusual to have a chorus palm muted. I would say it's normally verse build to chorus, but this is like a palm muted chorus. And also, if you listen to the drums on this, they even sound a bit muted themselves. Like Helders is palm muting, which sounds stupid, but do you know what I mean?
It's weird, isn't it?
It's like he's stifling them a bit for this to match the rest of the sound of the chorus. What is that then? That do sound do in the it's in the chorus as well, isn't it? That kind of that honk or whatever it is. Is it? It must be the keys, right?
It must be keys. Yeah, it must be keys.
And the one in the chorus as well. That when it's the in the background, that's keys, right? That kind of like the DANG do. That must be keys as well, yeah. But it's a very odd key sound, though. I always used to wonder whether it was somehow created on guitar using something, or if it was like Jamie plugging his amp into a fucking I don't know,
very odd guitar sound. It's one of the two.
I think it is a key sound, though. I think it is a key sound.
Yeah,
but it's just an odd one. But yeah, but not John Ashton either.
No,
live
Alex
it is,
Turner.
but yeah, Alex Turner, the man himself. But yeah, I really loved that, and then the way it goes into the second verse from the chorus, because it's weird because so it's like normal chorus, then it's normal verse, palm muted chorus, and then into the second verse with some bits of lead from Jamie. I think it makes it like more impactful, like even though it's more or less the same as the first verse, because they palm muted the chorus, and then when that second verse comes in, it's like with the lead from Jamie. It does elevate it loads, yeah. It makes it so much better. I do love the way they do the instruments in this as well. I
genuinely think without that stuff from Jamie elevating it, I think this song could quite easily fall by the wayside. But as it is, it's a favourite off his album. But that just goes to show Mr. Jamie Cook, vital.
Well, yeah, as I say, it's my mission to change hearts and minds on that. But the you know what? I guess the flow isn't a million miles away from like a Teddy Picker in terms of the flow and the way they do it, but they're just doing it in a different way with more experimentation, I guess. But like the sort of because some of my favorite Arctic Monkey songs are ones that just have a flow the whole way through, and this is one of them. And I still think with Humbug, I mean, probably right up until AM. I don't know, like. I feel like Humbug is. If you were going to separate them in terms of a style, I would have Humbug closer to the first two albums than Suck It and See. Yeah. I think Suck It and See is more of a change of style than Humbug, because if you think about it, when Suck It See came out, that the only melodic songs that you really need them for were Mardy Bum. Like as a not a big fan, as Mardy Bum, First Adolescent, and Cornerstone, maybe Secret Door at a push. So to do a whole
maybe
melodic
extend
album.
what you said. So you said this is closer to the first two albums. I agree, but at the same time, I'd say I'd see that similarity a lot more in Favourite Worst Nightmare, which goes back to chimes with what we said quite a lot on the Favourite Worst Nightmare series, where we were picking bits out of songs and saying, "Oh, this is a bit of humbug bleeding through already," and it just goes to like stuff like "If You Were There, Beware," "This House is a Circus," that type of thing. It's just all bleeding through into
some of the
humbug.
B-sides.
The through line is there again.
Yeah, and like I say, it's not these riffs and these sounds aren't a million miles away from what we've had previously, even on what people say. I mean, places like it's just an evolution of it, and it's also them using different instruments and different pedals and having a different producer and having a different experience and creating some. Because I would guess, I could be wrong on this because they obviously had some demos before. I would imagine that much like us, they maybe felt going to do a album with Josh Homme would end up in a really fast Queens of the Stone Age type album, which is what I assumed because they were already a fast band for the most part. Yeah. Although I would argue that a lot of Favourite Worst Nightmare's mixed in that regard. It's only really the first album. But once you get past Teddy Picker, there aren't that many fast songs, like fast songs, are there? Favourite Worst Nightmare. Even Teddy Picker is fast, I guess, but it's more funky. Brainstorm's the fastest song on the album, right? I would saying that.
Yes.
Brainstorm's is the only one close to the speed of the first album and the intensity. But so this one, I expected this to be really fast Queens of Stone Age type stuff, but obviously more of a desert rock style. But yeah, it's still definitely in the same world. I don't think I actually think, I would say Suck It and See is more of a departure because even I would say for me, it goes these three in a trilogy. Suck It and See AM, I think, live in a similar world because a lot of that B-side work and guitar work in songs like Library Pictures and stuff give me kind of an AM vibe in places. You can't. So I would say there's the first three are a trilogy, and then there's these two in the middle, and then Tranquility and the Car very much live in Tranquility kind of lives in its own fucking world, but the Car is close-ish. In fact, it's hard to even compare them really, but if you were going to, in a way, Tranquility is kind of, maybe that says a lot though, because maybe Tranquility is its own world, and the Car will be its own world. And although when I was on the Straight Chilling podcast, and you should listen to that, by the way. I don't think I promoted it enough on this one, but it's out on our socials. We discussed the film The Conversation, which is a film that the band picked as part of their film festival for Tranquility. And there was a lot of inspiration from that film we found to discuss about the Arctic Monkeys. So it's basically an Arctic Monkeys podcast that also reviews a film. So go and check it out, Straight Chilling Podcast, me and Justin. And
we'll put a link to that in the episode description, where you can also find links to our subscriber content and all our social media stuff.
Yes. And what we discussed in that we found was like all the 70s references. I found a lot of Tranquility stuff in the film, and Justin found a lot of the Car stuff in the film. So we kind of decided that both albums are obviously inspired by the 70s. So that kind of leads into the theory that if they were going to do a trilogy of 70s inspirations, the next one would be the genre of 70s rock, because they've done the other two kind of 70s sounds. So it all is kind of leading that, yeah. So it does kind of get there maybe, but yeah. So I think definitely I've always seen this one as closer to the first two, but kind of just a different way of doing a similar thing. They're still doing, because if you think about it, a lot of Arctic Monkey songs up until this point, they go intro, verse with bass, and then chorus, and then guitar and bass, and then chorus, breakdown, outro, and that they stick to that similar type of formula. And sometimes they'll mix up which chorus has just bass and which doesn't, but which verse, sorry. But they stick to. I think this song and the songs we've covered so far are similar. They're just better. They're just better versions. They're just more, well, not better, but more musically better, more well produced, more
refined. I think
more refined. Got more about them. They've layered stuff. They've experimented. They've put little sounds in there, here and there, and stuff like that.
More confident in it, aren't they? Yeah.
Because I could be wrong, but I think that's something to discuss at the end, perhaps. But are the ones that James Ford did the simpler sounds of the album, and the ones that Josh Homme did are the ones where they're really experimenting with stuff? But I guess we'll see. My Propeller is one of the Ford ones, though, and that's quite different, but also not that different, though. But anyway, we digress. But it was a good digression.
It was. It's a good kind.
So yeah, let us know if you think that these three fit as a trilogy, and then so I'm sure people probably won't agree with us, but I think musically they do. But Suck It and See, AM, similar vibe as well, and then but I love instead of the stop that they do in the sort of last verse, they do like the guitars do a little change up. They do a little like ding 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 like that, and Helders changes up the drums as well. He does like a sort of like one of his Helders things, and then after that we just drop to the bass in the verse. So it kind of it's all the instruments, and then they do a little changeover, and then it drops down to bass. And again, as we always ask, great bass line. Think he came up with the riff first, or do you think it was a case of Nick O'Malley again striking again with a great riff?
See, that's probably the thing I'd like to know the most with every track. What came first, the chicken or the dickhead?
The chicken or the dickhead?
What came first in terms of the? I would love to know that so much.
Lyrical arm.
It's just.
Lyrical arm for that. Or is that the one I always say? What's the lyric? What's the lyric that I kept using all the time? And it was a lyrical arm. We were just like, right, you can't have that anymore for a lyrical arm because I use it all the time. I can't remember what it is now. So that means I get it back wherever it was. When I say it, maybe we'll remember.
Probably that.
I don't think it was that. Lyrical arm. Give me the full experience. Come on.
Give me the full. Well done, everyone.
Yeah, I would love to know that as well. In terms of, but here's my theory. So I've heard a lot of times that Helders has talked about how he has old drum beats that he keeps and they use and they're jamming, and they talk a lot about how beats get them into songs. So Helders has a particular drum beat. So that would imply to me that Nick comes up, because if a drummer's doing a jam, it makes sense to me that the bass player would be the next logical person to come up with a riff with the drummer.
Yeah.
So then that's a really cool riff. So then the guitars do that riff, and then like Alex tends to do that riff that he's doing, and then Jamie comes up with his little Jamie Cook specials. So I would think personally that most of the riffs we hear, and I could be way off the base here, I think it's going to be different with Suck It and See, because I've Alex seemed to have written a lot of those songs on an acoustic guitar from what I could hear, and also some of the songs on this, like Cornerstone. I think the melodic ones come from Alex, perhaps sitting at a acoustic or at a guitar, but these type of songs, which are very led by drums and bass and stuff.
Are You Mine? Another example.
Are You Mine? Yeah. I think, because let's just say, Are You Mine, great example. Let's just say Helders did that drum beat, and then Nick O'Malley came up with that phenomenal riff, to be quite honest. But I mean, I just can't wait to discuss that, because that changed my life. But it did. But I can imagine this one being one where Helders was jamming on the drums, did that kind of beat of this song, and then Nick started doing his bass, and the guitar did it, and here we are. I would imagine Josh Homme put out his fang and went, "Boys, I think we got something."
I love it, boys. I love it. You're going to the top, baby.
Yeah. We had the fastest selling debut album of all time, but this is America.
You're going to play Carnegie Hall.
You're in a real country now. But So I think, I reckon Nick, but who knows really? All we could do is theorize. Then everyone comes back in after that. Peak them when everyone comes back in. Peak Arctic Monkeys, like kind of sound to get into something where they do that kind of change of the riff and it switches up. Like that's peak Monkeys, I'd say. Peak Monkeys.
Trademark.
Trade Missed the mark. Trade Mark Collin.
Trademark speaking.
Trademark speaking, sorry, yeah.
Please tell
Any
me how
more?
may I direct your instruments.
Mark. No, I don't think there's any more. Okay, got that out of our system. And
Good job it wasn't a trade Mr. Mark. That'd be awful, wouldn't it?
it would be. Then we go into the chorus again. This second chorus, like they throw so many little sounds and elements into this that I always just think it sounds like sort of subdued chaos slowly building. Like there's so much going on. I can almost just see Jamie like doing little sounds. And I'm using Jamie as an example here because, as you'll hear later on in another segment, again, that man was instrumental in a lot of the experimentation. But that Jamie, like, you know, making all these little sounds on stuff and trying stuff and going, should we try this? And should try this one. I think we should try this sound. Let's plug this in here. Let's plug this. Plug this guitar into an old, I don't know, blender, and it'll like kind of go. And go, oh, that's an amazing sound. We'll use that. Throwing pink dust everywhere. but yeah, I just there's so much going on in this bit, like these little sounds, and it's like there's no kind of coherence to it, but there is at the same time. I would almost describe it as if like a football manager let players be very creative and do their own thing, but within a strict system. Like Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, I know that's I wondered how long it'd take till you got a mention on here.
Not very long. Then so I think we get that kind of the build up into the breakdown or fucking break up, to be honest, because it's not really, it's a breakdown, but it's a pretty I always think this breakdown, this lead up into that kind of like that this is the bit of this album that I always think inspired Elephants by Them Crooked Vultures. So I think this inspired him with that, because the guitar is very that kind of doom sounds a lot like that song when it changes up. But yeah, this build up is good. The whole song is a build up to this breakdown, isn't it? Which is unusual because it's normally a build up to a big chorus is what a song builds up to. Like a kind of, you know, if I was to use an example, you could use Evergreen, the Pop Idol song by Will Young. That's just building up to a big moment of, or if you think about the key change moment when Westlife used to stand up off the stools, you know, that kind of thing is what songs are normally building to. You know, I'm gonna take this moment and make it last forever. Wouldn't have won if people knew. But it just feels like it's building up to a breakdown, which is amazing. But it isn't really a breakdown, even though it drops all the instruments. Helders does so much with the drums in this breakdown. It's not a breakdown. His drums do the work in this bit of all the instruments. It feels like a full moment of the song with just one instrument, which I think is amazing. It's incredible.
Absolutely awesome.
It's actually this song, because this is what this song is about, perhaps, as we'll get into. It does feel like the music, as I say sometimes when the music reflects what Alex is talking about with this band, the way it kind of palm mutes and builds towards this breakdown, it does feel like it's expressing the frustration that the character of the song is expressing with the woman. And that is even more backed up by the fact that just before it lets go with the breakdown, he shouts, let's make a mess lioness, as it's kind of like a release liner. He's releasing the frustration, and then the drums released a relation of the songs. Oh, that's quite good, actually. That's quite clever.
Do you reckon Josh Homme
Good
had to
lads,
come in
aren't
at
they?
this point and go, lads, save some for Pretty Visitors, all right?
I still think about like Held is creating this. Like, this is what blows me about blows me. This is what blows my mind about about us not getting any footage from this experience. Maybe that was part of the deal. They didn't want Josh Homme and that didn't want anything. Or whatever.
Although we know what Josh Homme's like with photographers and that, don't we? Ooh.
But just what like, because I just imagine these desert rock guys. It's Queens of Stone Age, the biggest, desert rock band ever. At the time, everyone that album songs are death regarded as like one of the biggest rock albums we'd had for years, and Dave Grohl's popping in and out. Taylor's probably there, and all these different dudes probably from that world.
She's doing that everywhere, huh?
She fucking does. But the whole like I'm gonna give her a dues this week because I saw a guy from a heavy metal band, I can't remember the heavy metal band's name, defending her on stage because his audience booed her when she was mentioned, and he was defending her by saying like, at least she writes and produces her own music, which means that a new generation will see that it's not just you can create your own music. It's not just like usual pop artists that are just like churning out. So I was like, fair play to her. I'll give her that. But not ingest. No, what are they called? I can't remember the famous heavy metal band. Not our cup of tea, Nick. But
I won't know them.
No, but what was I saying? No, all these drummers, famous the drummers like Taylor, Dave Grohl, maybe being around, all these different desert rock dudes being there, and Hell just bashes out these drums for Dangerous Animals. This breakdown, and when you look at them, there's a video we're going to play as the outro of this, and if you subscribe, you'll see it. If not, it's from the view. You'll hear it, but the view from videos he did. There's a snippet in one of them where they're rehearsing Dangerous Animals for the head of the tour. And when you see him doing those drums up close, like, it's insane what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, so the fact that he'd only been playing drums at this point for about when did he start playing drums? 2002. So maybe 5-6 years, because this would have been recorded in 2008, wouldn't it? So yeah, 5 or 6 years, and him bashing out a beat like that. I imagine those guys were pretty solidly impressed with. These like guys that have probably been playing music their whole lives at this point, like probably like what at this point, probably like 30s. But certainly someone like Dave Grohl, like you just think, and there is evidence for this because we've seen pictures of Dave Grohl with them and stuff, so of them knowing them. So yeah, just insane to me that he's pulling out something like this around those guys, and they're probably impressing those guys as well. This and Pretty Visitors. But yeah, more drums on Pretty Visitors. I think this is.
I can take or leave Foo Fighters, but I do enjoy the thought of Dave Grohl being impressed by other musicians and stuff. He seems like a nice guy, Dave Grohl. So I'm a fan of
especially
him,
my
I'm not
favorite
really a
band.
Foo Fighters fan.
No, me neither. I'm not a Foo Fighters fan, but I'm more. If I was going to be, it would be Queens of Stone Age would be the band that I would rather see and listen to than Foo Fighters. To be honest, Foo Fighters are kind of the commercial version of Queens of Stone Age. Foo Fighters are the Queens of Stone Age that your mum likes.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, which is a shame because Dave Grohl was in Nirvana, but we all age, I guess. But yeah, you know what? I think these. I just can't say enough about the drums on this. I think this part with this drum breakdown is one of the best musical parts on this whole album for me, if not the best. To be honest,
that's literally what I had written down to say as well, and I think. There's not much that's going to push that.
No, I think the only
thing stuff that's going to push it, but not to that level.
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe when we listen to like Pretty Visitors, there'll be something. But I just think this bit is just perfect. It's a perfect bit. It's rocky. It's cool. It's got swagger. It's funky. It's grimy. Everything about this breakdown is amazing. It's not a breakdown. Let me call it a breakdown. It's a drum solo. A bit of keys in there, but still,
it's everything. It's everything that's previously made up my favorite Arctic Monkeys moments, but they're clearly moving on as well at the same time. It's that weird middle point.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and who knows? I say about them being impressed, but he's always been very inventive with the drums and wanting to do stuff. But we can't discredit the fact that where he was. Because he said before about seeing the Queens of Stone Age drummer live and being like, fuck, because he does beast those drums. We can't discount the fact that he was pushed by people like Josh Homme to do even better than he was. I'm sure that was the case. I'm sure they were elevated by those people being in their presence. If you made songs for the deaf, then you know a thing or two about drums. So I'm sure he was elevated by them as well. So I don't mean he just dropped up and had this riff ready made and they all was like, wow, who is this kid? But I imagine the fact that he could do it and come up with it is impressive. I'm sure they probably pushed him along on the journey. Yeah. And with the way they incorporate the keys, really make it elevates it as well. That kind of doon 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 doon. It almost doesn't have. This song doesn't have. Without this bit, this song wouldn't be. I mean, you can say that about a lot of Arctic Monkey songs because of how there's our individual band input, but I don't think this song would be without this moment. I don't think I would be saying it's potentially my favorite on the album without how there's drums.
Oh no,
but I could say that about any of the Arctic Monkey songs about how there's drums. So it's pointless, really. And then we kind of build up, get like little Jamie Cook specials as well to build it up in this bit as well. As Alex starts singing, you get that kind of ding, ding, ding. These little Jamie, there's Jamie
shimmering away.
And then we get a little very brief pause. And we come in with what is a very, very cool solo. We've waxed lyrical about the drums, but
solo.
that kind of. I think that solo is very Queens of the Stone Age, but also very Arctic Monkeys at the same time. This is the perfect. If you were gonna, this is what I imagined the whole album would have been like when you told me Josh Homme and Arctics were doing an album, and especially retroactively knowing what I know now about them. This solo feels like a kind of important moment on their journey.
This is why I can't get on board with the whole thing of they change so much. The sound changes so much after the second album. No, it doesn't. It's still quintessentially Arctic Monkeys, that solo, but you can tell.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Diversifying who they're hanging around with and stuff. That's about the size of it.
And then just different influences and different styles. And Jamie was always the Queens of the Stone Age head. So, I mean, I think about him as well being here with his hero. Essentially, I mean, this fit for them. Him more so, but for the whole band, this is essentially like us going recording an album with Arctic Monkeys or with Alex, isn't it? Yeah. Or Alex, but the Arctic Monkeys are dipping in and out and hearing bits and helping with bits and stuff. That's essentially what has happened to them right now, which is just insane, I thought. So imagine what they must have felt like. I mean, because even though they were pretty successful as a band in this country, I imagine they still felt like, small fries compared to Josh Homme at this point. Yeah. So it must have been incredible experience, like, and hanging out with them and all the stories they must have heard and the laughs they had and shit. Like, I can't even imagine. That is literally like us getting to go hang out with Arctic Monkeys and make an album with them. I can't even quantify what that would be like in my head.
We've probably only heard about 10% of the stories at most.
Oh God, yeah, and the fact that after this experience, they were just friends with them now. They just do stuff with them. They hang out with them. He comes and pops on their albums. They pop on theirs. Like Hell just goes on tour with him and Iggy Pop. Like they went from, producer probably meet your heroes. A good testament to the phrase "never meet your heroes" because obviously they didn't have that experience with Josh Homme. But yeah, no, I can't even. Crazy world. Maybe that'll happen to us one day. Maybe I'll sell a script and then I'll be able to write an Arctic Monkeys film, and I can write a film and ask Alex to do the soundtrack, and then we can become best mates. This is what that guy was talking about. Was fantasizing about being friends with the band.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that a second ago.
But he made it sound like that's all we do. Like it was usually about 10 seconds of a pod. We'll go, wouldn't it be nice to know them? And then that's it. We move on. You actually like the whole pod's fangirls going, wouldn't it be nice to see Alex every day? And going, what would we do? Oh, imagine going Tesco with Alex. What do you think he buys? What meal deal selection do you think Alex would get? A duck wrap, if you're asking, but Nah, I don't know. It's the first thing that came into my head for some reason. I'm trying to figure something. Now he would.
Salad kind of guy.
Now he would, I think.
I love how duck wrap is the sign of a multimillionaire who's lost his roots.
No, duck wrap is the sign of someone that's a bit more culturally evolved. on a Tesco meal deal standard. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the best. That's
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the as Tesco meal deal options go. The duck wrap is the most sophisticated thing on there, probably.
I go for the stuff that's the most expensive on its own to
Clever.
maximize
I
my meal
do.
deal value.
I think the most maximise you can get out of it is to get the triple decker all day breakfast sandwich. To be honest, that's how you're really maximising your money there, because that's like 3 sandwiches with a full English in them. I'm not
don't
saying it's an
really like
enjoyable
cold
sandwich, and I
sausages,
feel
though.
like killing myself afterwards, but it's the most money, Nick. I don't need to enjoy it. I just need to enjoy the fact that I got more money out of it. No. I really like. There's a. I'm not gonna have a fucking conversation about this. What I'm talking about. But anyway, so yeah, just another rung on the evolution of Arctic Monkeys for that solo. And then the whole band come in for the kind of similar to the verse outro, just ends perfectly. And I like that little noise at the end as well. The doom, 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 doom. I like that. And I can't hear the end of the song without immediately hearing the opening notes of Secret Door either. That's what I heard.
No,
straight away,
same.
yeah.
There's certain songs like that where, at the end of them, you just automatically hear, that'd be a good top 5 for this content, wouldn't it? Top 5 songs
Yes.
where you immediately hear the next song on the album after it.
Well, in a way, not really, but in a way, this does have a similar end to Switch Up that we have with like your This House of Circus, If You Were There, Beware, your American Sports, and there's a similar thing there between this and Secret Door, a little bit, not quite as much, but not directly, but kind of. But yeah, did you think we covered the solo enough there? The solo's fantastic. Alex, doing it, do you think?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah. I think so. Jamie normally covers other bits, doesn't he? But yeah, dude, I just love it. Yeah, it's a sound. It is. Ding, 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 ding. Again, very Them Crooked Vultures as well, that solo. Yeah. But yeah, fantastic. The music in this song is fantastic. This is going to be hard to beat for me on the album. I'm not saying that won't happen, because as I say, it is early days and there's a lot of ground to cover, but we have some tunes to come, but I don't know.
There's a lot going
I do
on
think,
here, and it's all the better for it.
I will say this. I do think on this album, 10 tracks, only having discussion because it was produced by Josh Homme, I think this is the most Queens of the Stone Age type song on the album. Like if you speed this up slightly with Josh Homme singing, it would sound kind of like Queens of the Stone Age album, because their version would be like kind of like something like that. It would sound like a kind of Queens, and he'd be like, "Been down by the dark."
When we finish here, I'm gonna play it on like 2 speed on YouTube.
Yeah, it'd be like frighteners and fiends line up to be too like damn Taylor going mental. So yeah, I think this is the most sound in it. But on that note, should we move it before we do the lyrics? Should we do our little segment we came up with last week where our covers band chat?
We might.
I'm gonna form a covers band and all.
A bit of a cop out for me here, so I'll get it out of the way. But based off what I just said, I think for me, I would love to Quiz the Stone Age do a version of this, and I think it would make sense as well. And I'm surprised because I think they have done a cover of an art. Yeah, it was Soft AM. They did a cover of an AM song, right? More on that later. But they did do a live cover of. It's on YouTube. They did a cover on a TV or something of. It's an Arctic song anyway.
Why'd you only come when you're high?
Why'd you only come when you're high? Yes.
On the live lounge. Yeah.
Probably the weirdest song but anyway, it was probably on the selection that week. But yes, I would love them to. I would have loved to have heard them do a version of this song out of all the songs on here.
So I was also going to say Queens of the Stone Age, but I had a feeling you would. So I thought
Okay.
let's mix it up a bit. So I have gone for, in fact, someone that we have mentioned who's going to feature on this album, The Dead Weather, one of Jack White's 482 bands, but with female vocals, Alison Mosshart. I'd like to hear her tackling this. I think it fits.
So
She's got that kind of.
What kind of vibe would the
croony
song have?
vocal.
Would it be faster, same speed, slower than this version?
I think it'd be a little bit slower. Just only
A little bit slower?
tiny bit.
So like kind of like
a little tiny bit.
there is
slower.
actually a YouTube version of this that is it slowed down a bit. And I was gonna use that. I was looking for songs for things to play as the outro, like I've been doing the last couple of weeks. By the way, I don't know if you listened to it, but that 4D version of My Propeller with headphones on was really good. That was the outro of the last one. Really, yeah, really good.
Yeah,
opened up that song a lot. But the end of Crying Lightning as well. There's an 8D version of Crying Lightning. We haven't heard that yet. You haven't heard that yet, but that is what there was. The listeners will have. Very good as well. Very interesting. But there is a slow version on YouTube, but it's weird to listen to because they don't take the vocals off, so it just sounds ridiculous. But with the, I guess, yeah, doon, 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 and then a woman going, "Lights in the Zen fiends, I'm riding up." Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and then a little bit of a couple of like bluesy solo by Jack White. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, well, excellent. Next week's will be an interesting cover to do, I think. Opens up a bit more.
Indeed.
But more on that in a week's time. Do you want some lyrics? Should we do some lyrics? Oh, first of all, his voice. The start, the singing, the pin down in the dark. I like that. I like the way he does that. But singing in this one overall, I think, bit different. Kind of.
But I think we're still hearing favourite. It's still more favourite worst nightmare Alex than whatever people say I'm Alex. But at
Do you know
the
what?
same time, you can still see the progression again.
Do you know what? When we talk about performative song, the way when he sings, like "If You There Beware" was very emotive because it was personal to him. I think this one, he's performing a bit because it's a bit like he does on the first TLSP album, which I think the lyrics of this is the most. I would say the lyrics to this. We said it with Crying Lightning, but some of the lyrics in this are also very TLSP sounding. I think First At Ages in the statement sounding because as we know, we've been covering that. Become a subscriber to hear that. But moving ahead. But what do you think the song is about, Nick? Not as complex as the previous ones. I think this is more classic Monkey's Fair, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your classic mucky lover sort of thing. Almost unobtainable. Well, not so much unobtainable, but she's a vixen. She's a fox.
Well, here's my question with it. Yeah, she's difficult. She's the chase. She loves the thrill of the chase. She's difficult to get, and it's frustrating him.
A theme that we've seen.
Yes, and my question with it is, by the end of it, hopefully we'll know, is this a girl who has no interest in him and he's pursuing her? Or is this a girl, which is a commonly led theory I've seen on the internet, is that this is about a woman who he wants, but she doesn't want him, but she kind of leads him on a bit? Or is this a girl who does want him, but she's playing hard to get? That I think that's the two options that the song does that you could decipher. But a lot of people go for the first option there, that she doesn't actually want him, but she does like to string him along, which it is kind of goes like TLSP vibe as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can go along with it actually. Like just looking at lyrics and stuff, I think that does fit. There's nothing in the lyrics I don't think to suggest that she is actually properly interested.
Well, maybe there's a couple of things, but we'll see. But let's go. Let's begin it. So the first line, I'm pinned down by the dark.
That's a
So
colourful line.
yeah, so is that like the darkness of his obsession? Perhaps.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Pinned down by the dark. Yeah, fairly. And then been fighting with my sheets and nearly crying in my sleep. You know what? Nothing spectacular there. Nice imagery. Obvious, isn't it? Yeah, restless with the sheets. Nearly crying because he's that obsessed. But I really just love it as a sentence. I think it's just a really cool sentence. And again, nailed the lyrics for this song, because if the music came first, let's say, then nailed matching the lyrics with the song, because that line just feels perfect to the beat of this. Like, just feels right. Because some songs, obviously, any song that you hear, the lyrics feel right with the beat because that's the way you hear it. But I think some songs, just speaking generally, not just Arctic Monkeys, but I think some songs that you hear, you feel like, oh, they nailed that performance and that lyric in this song, like to go with it. You just feel something different about it. They're always the great songs, I think, that manage to do that. But yeah, I love it. Just love that sentence. But then we get, yes, I'm battling that well-told gripe, the most frustrating type. You should have racing stripes the way you keep me in pursuit.
Good triple rhyme there. I love that. Like,
Very good, very good.
Structure a bit.
Again, works because what we didn't say with the music of this one is it is almost still in that rap world as well, isn't it? That hip hop world in its own way. It's kind of hip hop, desert rock type thing, isn't it? Which to say that as a sentence, it sounds awful.
Thinking,
do you know what I mean?
Boys.
Do you know what I mean? If somebody said to you, "Oh yeah, we've made a hip hop desert rock album," you go, "Ooh, don't know about that, mate. It's gonna be fucking awful." But yeah,
like Mr. Springsteen, really it's time to get to the old people's home.
But yeah, so yeah, first line saying basically battling with that same old man woman thing that we've all battled with, the back and forth. And yes, that is very frustrating, Alex. It is. Yes. But the next one, first of a new feature. Nick, can we hear the car alarm?
Oh, we've got a car alarm. Let's hear it. Great work, that.
Can we hear that again for the people at the back?
Yeah, why not?
Makes me want to go crack on the album now, just from hearing that. I just want to hear the next bit of that. You know, it ain't like you. Chills. I got chills. You know, that could be the one song that by the end of this could end up as overtaking Suck It and See, you know. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Right. Thinking about doing a U. Yeah, but we'll see, because Suck It and See does still give me the feels. So, but yeah, I need to see them live again, because Suck It and See always makes me cry. I've seen it this time, did. So if Mirrorball makes me cry next time, then yeah. So if you come on tour again, guys.
What I ideally need is them
Mirrorball's definitely going to be a staple now, right? So yeah.
I need them to follow up Cornerstone with body paint straight away, so I can see how my reaction changes. That's the only way to solve it.
What if you heard body paint live, but they didn't do the long outro?
Then they're dead to me, Dan.
Well, they will do it differently. I don't think they'll keep doing the same outro for it forever. But
no, I think they will. No, I think it'll be an extended outro until the end of time. Now.
Extended outro, but they have to change it. You can't keep doing the same extended outro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll end up like Rolling Stone fans going, "Oh, I gotta hear that extended."
Imagine being their friends.
On the 3 for $10 Tesco Finest meal deal they have, what do you think? I think Alex and Louise would. No, so the car, I feel like you need to do the lyrical alarm again now, because the car alarm again now, because we've moved on so far from it. So the car alarm feature is basically we thought we'd start cataloging all the times, and maybe in the wrap up we'll go back and mention all the previous ones. But from this point on, we thought we'd reference all the times that a car is mentioned in the Arctic Monkeys lyrics, because there's a lot more than perhaps you think. And this is the first time we have hit that. And it is, although you could have, we did hit it on my propeller as well. We just didn't have an alarm then with tow. Although is tow me tenuous because that could be towing a boat, a car, towing anything. So maybe that one was a bit tenuous. But this one, the line is obviously should have racing stripes the way you keep me in pursuit, which is very much a car reference, a racing car reference, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But
So
at the same time, it segues nicely into the animal theme because it puts you in mind of
Yes.
a zebra or a tiger or something like that, and especially with the next line about keeping in pursuit. Oh, he mentions a boot as well. Cars
Ooh.
have boots.
it is. A racing stripe is specifically referencing a car, though, right? I agree with you about the
It is,
animals,
yeah.
but just to say racing stripe,
Yeah.
there's nothing else that would have racing stripes, is there? I agree with you that it also invokes an animal image. Yeah, just to check that we didn't.
But I love the way it covers both bases.
Yeah, it could easily be, because of the dangerous animal does make you think of wildlife animals, doesn't it? And a lot of cars are named after said animals. Yeah. So there you go. Jaguar. That one. I can't think of any more right now off the top of my head. I said a lot, but got to back that up now, but I can't. The cheetah. Is that a car? No, now I'm thinking a lot of things then. Puma.
Yes.
You don't have a Puma car. But the what a line though. I do love that comparison to the chase, like her as a car in a race and him in hot pursuit, and then obviously, like you say, the animal invoking of the, the like you said, the jaguar hunting its prey, whatever, chasing down the gazelle or whatever. That's him trying to get her, but he can't get her. Great stuff. Lovely imagery from Alex. I do remember I did thinking a lot. Not my favorite lyrical song on this album, but this is up there. I think he does a really good job of doing his kind of new Alex metaphor thing, but also keeping it fairly grounded. Like there's no kind of what's this one about, is there? It's pretty straightforward. You know what it's about. He's basically doing what he's done always, talking about women being in pursuit, but he's doing it in this way.
Hey Dan, do you like listening to popular songs with questionable lyrics?
You know I bloody do. And Nick, do you like drinking copious amounts of alcohol?
Nah, do I ever? Actually a worry.
Well, if you're the same as us, then come listen to a weekly podcast, Liquor and Lyrics, where we take apart popular music's worst songwriting whilst drinking our favourite drinks, which kind of stay in theme with the song.
From Gin and Tonic to Grease Lightning.
Cosmopolitans with Chaz and Dave.
Blue Lagoons with Busted.
Sex on the Beach with Sex on Fire.
Shirley Temples with Shaggy.
And even a shandy with Sharon.
Dropping on Tuesday the 19th of September and every Tuesday after on your favourite podcast platform.
I was wondering what I was also about the recording to hear Josh on me commenting on people commenting on Alex's lyrics while he's doing them in the recording booth or whatever, he's singing or whatever. Like, very would love to also know that whether they kind of saw in him his great lyricism when they listened to his previous stuff before he came. But yeah, stuff we'll never know. Maybe one day. Maybe if I do a documentary about the Humbug area, if I ever get to do it, I'll obviously get Josh Homme in and ask him all this stuff. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It's not off your camera, yeah.
You'll be the cameraman. What are you talking about? Gotta get you on the payroll somehow. The next line is, you sharpen the heel of your boot and you press it to your chest and you make me wheeze, then to my knees you do promote me. That's hot, isn't it?
Love that.
That's a hot line.
To my knees, it's getting me going.
That's hot, isn't it?
To my knees you do promote me just suggests that, well, how low were you? If you're being promoted to your knees, then you're just in the dirt.
Very submissive, in it. Yeah, and also the idea of her being in complete control of this back and forth. He's submissive because he wants her that bad that she's just in complete control of the situation, and she will like metaphorically make it more difficult for him because she loves being chased. And then she'll give him a little bone to go at, a little nugget to give him hope by promoting him up from the floor to his knees, but not any more than the knees because she doesn't want him to, think he's got more of a foothold on her than she wants. Very clever line. Very clever. And that actually invokes both theories, because you could say on the first theory that she's promoting him to his knees to keep him in the chase, to give him a bit of false hope, even though she's not interested because she just likes the chase. But you could also say in the other theory that she's promoting him to his knees because she does want him. So she wants to keep him in the chase. She just likes to thrill the chase. Exactly, but But there's something about the sound of the song and the way Alex performs it that does lean towards the first one a bit, because he does sound a bit bitter about the whole situation, doesn't he? So a bit, again, TLSP, age understatement, bit bitter about this woman being a bit of a knob. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like, yeah, I am leaning towards the first one a little bit more for now. And then we get ANIMAL. She makes my head pirouette more than I can't ever say words like that without going into partridge mode. Pirouette. She makes my head pirouette more than I would be willing to confess. DANGEROUS. Interesting this, because a pirouette is when you spin in, when a ballet dancer spins on one foot with your raised foot on your knee, isn't it? Like in a ballet sort of spinning. So if your head was doing that, I don't think he means the position. So he means like spinning, basically your head spinning. She's got you out of your head. You makes your head spin. You're that into a, whether that's like lovesick, confusion, obsession, that kind of, we've all been there. That kind of crazy, like head fuck. She's a head fuck, basically, is what he's trying to say. Mind fuck. Head fuck, mind fuck, what's the same? Mind fuck. But he doesn't want to admit that to her and give her even more control in this situation. If she knew how much she was driving him, then she would go in even more. She'd love it. He doesn't want to give her the satisfaction of knowing she's done. That's what, isn't it? Yeah, we've all been there as well. Which again is a bit bitter, because if you did like her, you'd want her to know how much you care about her. So if he's already thinking he doesn't want her to know about how much she fucks him, then fucks with his head, then that implies he's a bit bitter about the way she's leading him along and making him work for it as well. But then he does enjoy it a bit, because I get a little bit, the knees promote me to your knees with the wheeze and that. He's enjoying that. He's enjoying that little submissive, sexy bit there, isn't he?
We're all enjoying
Yeah. That is probably one of the most overtly sexual Alex gets in the lyrics, isn't it? Even though he said stuff before, but although actually there's another bit in the song when he goes a bit overtly sexual as well, you could say.
I'll be honest, it's not good for me that we're doing this when I'm going on a date tomorrow, because I'm just gonna turn up and be like, kick me in the bollocks.
And that's always your standard opening date line anyway, so I don't see how this plays into
I want you to move away from it.
Can't change who you are at this point, Nick. The light it fidgets through, the thoughts will soon revert to you. I really like that. So basically the light coming in through the window, he's just woke up in the morning, but his first thoughts will soon be straight on her. Like you get that kind of initial wake up where you go, oh, it's morning or whatever, and then you'll go straight back on her. And then this is probably one of my about as bashful as a tribal dance.
Famous,
I mean, that is
bashful at all. Love it.
Yeah, so funny and sarcasm, clever. So basically wants the attention on herself is what I should say, because a tribal dance draws the eye. So if you were bashful, you'd be reluctant to have the attention. You wouldn't be doing a tribal dance if you were bashful. So yeah, I mean, don't really need to explain that to people, I'm sure, but for the idiots at the back, that's very
the idiots at the back who needed 4 plays of the Carol Lamb jingle.
We cater to everyone on this podcast, except people that aren't Monkeys fans. Yeah, there's one. But do you think he means?
Don't put yourself down, mate.
I love it like this. I'm like, when we get like this, people are going to start thinking there's animosity. Like they won't know. Like it'll be like that thing when you, who is it? And there's like a double act. Like, is that real animosity? Yeah, because we had a bit of time off and a sudden break. People are like, oh, is there a bit of animosity? Like be in the tabloid soon. Is there a bit of animosity in the hype?
Podcast sexy party romp feud in the sun or something.
So if we were going to fall out, it would be something like that. Would be sex based, I'd imagine. So where were we? Yeah. Okay. So with that though, when he says that, so we know what that means. It means a tribal dance isn't bashful. He's being sarcastic. She's obviously gagging for his attention or any attention. So do you think he means her then on this, or himself? He means her, right, is where you would go. He's talking about her. The only reason I ask that is because the next line is the first and final chance. What do you think that means? Because basically that's kind of those lines together about as bashful, because they rhyme, so they're kind of together. About as bashful as a tribal dance, the first and final chance. Is he saying? Because what he'd be saying is that she loves the attention, and it's his first and final chance to win her over, or is he saying that he loves her attention and it's his first and final chance to win her over? Like, I don't know. Like, I think he must mean her. Because the whole
Must
song
be.
before this has been about him describing her. It'd be weird to switch to a kind of derogatory term about himself. But yeah, I think the first and final chance he means he's meaning he's only really got one shot at her, and that's his final chance, really. Because after that, she'll just
Yeah.
keep shrugging you along. There's no coming back with this girl. You don't wear her down like some women and men.
Yes.
So yeah, first and final chance. Yeah, I think he's referring to his first and final chance with her. Bit of a random line in there, and then we get, and of course, the audience of frighteners and fiends divided up into two teams. So what? The men that are after her?
Yeah, none
Is
of
that
them
what
are
you
good.
mean? Is
None
that what
of
it
them
means?
are
Yeah,
good.
the
They're all-
people,
yeah.
they're all frighteners and fiends that are after her.
Yeah.
That implies a bit of sympathy for her then, because it's not a good selection of people to come after you, is it? Or is that what she deserves because of the way she loves the chase?
Oh, what came first? You know, the chicken or the egg?
I had a lyrical arm for that for a while. But yeah, and then paired with when the acrobat fell off. So this is an interesting line. I'm interested to see what you make of that. When the acrobat fell off the beam, she broke everyone's heart. Before you say what you think it means, for some reason, I always think of Russia when I hear that line. Don't know why. I think it's because I associate gymnasts with Russia straight away
They usually are
in my head. Yeah, I just
Russian
think,
good
yeah.
ones.
So I always think Russia when I hear that line, and that leads me to. So I think before you say what you think it means, I think when the acrobat fell off the beam and she broke everyone's heart is very TLSP edgy understatement line. That is very like a separate and ever deadly type line, or an edgy understatement line, or only the troops. Like, yeah, very much so. But yeah, what would you think that means?
I see it as I see it as like we just mentioned a second ago, like eliciting some sympathy for her, that maybe she can't keep this going, and she's almost revealed a bit of herself there, and people have thought, oh shit, it's not all her. She's not the main problem here. You know, there's a reason she's like this, as there often is with these things.
So like, yeah, when she revealed her true self a bit by falling off the beam, she slipped. She slipped. But the mask slipped. You could say it's another way of saying the
Showed
mask
that
slipped.
she's not perfect. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, you'd say normally a songwriter would say the mask slipped, but Alex, being Alex, said when the acrobat fell off the beam.
Yeah.
I imagine the way I imagine Alex's mind works is, and I have no idea, obviously, it's just completely in my head, is that he thinks that okay, the mask has slipped, and he thinks, right. And he thinks, what else would you slip on? And he keeps thinking of ways to slip until he finds something where he thinks an acrobat slips, and he goes, oh, a beam. And then he writes an amazing line like when the acrobat fell off the beam. And yeah, she broke everyone's heart because I'd seen it a bit differently. And it is very plausible, by the way, that this is straight after TLSP, that there are a few stray lines that he didn't use knocking about. But I always saw it as it's like similar in that she stopped performing. Like, so she stopped pretending to want them because the whole song's about the pursuit and the thrill of the chase, and she's pretending she wants them and not, which lies in the first theory again, that she doesn't really want him. But I always saw it as like when she stops performing and stops pretending to want you, she breaks all their hearts, the crowd, in the way that a gymnast would break the heart of the crowd wanting them to get the gold or whatever. Yeah. And when she reveals that she doesn't want them and she stops the game, basically, she stops the chase. You ever had that, when you're chasing a girl for a while and she seems to like it, but she's playing you a bit and then she calls it off. It's heartbreaking. So that's how I always saw it. She stopped the similar things, but that she's because performing.
Tell you what else it puts in my head, that line as well. It's something that we've mentioned as a running theme all the way from Favourite Worst Nightmare. The circus theme again.
Yes.
The song doesn't sound circusy, but purely because of that line, it's like we're back at the circus, animals, and
well, now that you say it, the kind of the keys in the breakdown, the drum solo, as we're calling it, the keys in the drum solo are a bit circusy. Yeah. They're ding, ding, ding. Yeah. And what do you get generally at a circus, Nick?
Lionesses.
Yeah, dangerous animals. I don't know why I said that. Dangerous animals. Dangerous animals.
Like
dangerous
Steve Irwin, more like.
Yeah, but you play with fire, you get burnt. But the
one's dead, one's a dead nonce. We weren't good references at all, were they?
No, moral of the story: don't trust men that play with dangerous animals. um, but yeah, so them two with that, what are they called, with the lion, and two magicians from the 90s. What are they called? They've always creeped me out a bit. They're up to something, aren't they? They creep me out.
Yeah. I can't even remember what they're called now.
I can only think of Hansel and Gretel. That's all I've got running in my head is Hansel and Gretel, and I know it's not that.
No,
I'm surprised Alex has never referenced
definitely
Hansel and Gretel in a lyric. Like, it feels like a very Alex thing to do. Make some opaque reference to Hansel
Siegfried
and
and
Gretel.
Roy.
Siegfried and Roy. Yeah, very, yeah, it is very sexy, that. And I guess the whole song, you know what? Now that you've said it, I'm just got a flashback to my younger self at 19. And that didn't cross my mind this time. I did used to think a lot of a circus ringleader when I'd listen to this song. For no apparent reason, really. I guess you could see her as a circus ringleader, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, interesting that you say that. But yeah, the last line of the song. But yeah, I think that one, the beam, she's either the mask has slipped and she's broke the hearts because she's. But that, I think the only reason I could go against yours, not just because you said it and I didn't, and I've said mine, but the only reason I'd go against yours is because that, to say the mask slipped and her showing a bit of herself to everyone broke the hearts because she wasn't what they thought, that invokes a bit of sympathy for her. Yeah. Which he has done in the line before, to be fair, because he called them frighteners and fiends. So maybe he is showing a bit of sympathy at the end. But my line's more is a bit colder, I guess, in keeping with the rest of the song. That theory that she stopped performing, she's broke their hearts. Basically, she's fought them off. So it depends which way you want to look at it. That he's being a bit nice to her, the one, feel a bit sorry for her because of the type of men that are after her. So I think it either or.
Been for the frighteners and fiends lyric, then I'd have gone straight down the same avenue as you. It's only because of the frighteners and fiends, and we've already mentioned.
No,
that's the only reason
I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted by that, and I'm conflicted by whether there is sympathy for her in the song. I think Alex normally does do that, give a bit of sympathy for the character as well, apart from like Scummy Man, who's just a cunt, obviously. So no need. But I mean, that's the first cunt of the series. But the not the last. But the last line is, but yeah, I think it's either or. I think it's nice to think he has a bit of sympathy for her because that shows a bit of niceness in him, that even though she's treating him badly, he still feels sorry for her because maybe it's not her, maybe it's the men she attracts that drive her to be in that way. Who knows? Heaven knows that happens. But the last line is, God only knows. I was going to sing that one. The most unusual pet. It's been long enough now, so let's make a mess, lioness. I mean, that is the most sexually overt, like, dripping. Just dripping. So she's a dangerous animal is obviously what the song's been getting at. She's a unusual pet, but most unusual pet, that kind of insinuates that taming her into a pet, which then insinuates that if you chase a woman that's playing hard to get, and then you get her, you're taming her like a pet, which I don't like that imagery so much in this day and age. No. But I don't want to be responsible for saying that.
It is a very common image.
But I suppose he's just saying she's wild, and maybe he doesn't mean it in that way. He's obviously not like that. We know that. So no. So, but that is. But it's funny because he's been a bit. He's chasing her, but he knows that she's playing hard to get and she's being difficult, and he gets a bit annoyed by her. And then he says whether he thinks she stopped performing, whether he thinks the mask has slipped, and he feels sorry for her. But then at the end, he's kind of just saying, "Come on, love, it's been long enough. Let's just fuck." It's kind of a moment of frustration and outburst, isn't it? He's going, "Come on, let's have it," which is what the song does as well. Like I say. Yeah, and the song does that. It builds to the drum solo. But yeah, it does feel like he's doing that. Does feel like it's going. He's kind of, he might be saying this and that about her, and he might be feeling sorry for her. He might be doing that, but then he's just like, oh, fucking hell, like it's been long enough now. I've been chasing you. It's not normally this hard, but let's make a mess. Yeah. Do you think he gets her at the end of the song? Do you think that implies he gets her, or is it just frustration?
I see it as just frustration. I don't know. Maybe he gets her all along. It depends which way we're going to read. People choose.
Yeah, that's the thing. Does she? If you think that she doesn't want him at all and it's just a game, then he doesn't get her and it's just a moment of frustration, but he never gets what he wants. Because the rest of the song just repeats, doesn't it? The DANGROUS over and over again after that. Oh, he doesn't really sing again. He just says, "I'm pinned down by the dark" again. Oh, considering he says, "I'm pinned down by the dark" again after that, that would imply that he doesn't get her, and he's still frustrated, wouldn't it?
Oh,
So, because in the breakdown, the moment of the release, he says, "I'm pinned down by the dark." So, yeah, that would imply that he's still left in his frustrations. So there you go. Ooh, what a time to be alive. Yeah. Should we hear something from the boys themselves, though? A little segment I refer to my notes as the John Kennedy bit.
Yeah, but we have a song clip that
we
fits
do.
the perfect jingle.
Yeah, we do.
Let's
Yeah.
have a look.
By the way,
Too much to discuss over a bucket of balls.
last week when I put that in, I did bookend it for Crying Lightning with that again at the end. It felt like it needed a bookend of the jingle after they stopped speaking, so maybe click it again at the end. It didn't feel right to like end the clip and then we start talking. It felt right to have, like it's kind of a segment,
Makes
like
sense.
the beginning and the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a look and see what they had to say, shall we?
To Exposure, it is XFM. I'm John Kennedy, and that is Arctic Monkeys, Dangerous Animals from the brand new album Humbug. Matt and Alex from the band are here with me tonight, talking us through it track by track. And there's all sorts of stuff in this track, Dangerous Animals. Maracas? Are those maracas?
Castanets.
Castanets.
Yeah.
I knew I'd get it wrong. And then there's this great echo kind of chime at some point near the end.
Yeah, that's just like a little trick. Jamie again. I don't know if this came from the same sort of premonition as his other, but yeah, that's just like the submarine sound that he
recreated very well live, might I add.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
He's really done it.
he's getting goes with all that business.
Clever. Does he have a massive array of pedals in front of him now?
It's expanding. Although it got very large,
It's streamlined.
but now it's kind of.
Is that the
I don't know if
board
it's
that's
just
changed?
been made more sort of
Efficient.
concise. Yeah, efficient. But there's a
All
lot going
warranted.
on downstairs.
Yeah.
And when a rock guitarist like Jamie assembles his board, does he do it all himself? Is he out there with the carpentry getting it right, or can you buy ready-made
Well, this
things?
is the thing. I think he did have a carpentried one, but now there's like these good ones that I've noticed, and I just sit there and look. But yeah, it's like a special one. I think he covered it in something so it was carpet rather than what it was before, metal bars.
Right.
Because
So
the Velcro
he
is quite
embellished.
important. He embellished a great design to make it a superb design.
I mean,
Excellent.
I'm sure he would certainly be more than capable of
Yeah,
knocking up the structure to.
yeah, given the chance. Yeah.
And so Dangerous Animals, the song, what's it all about? Who are these dangerous animals?
Who are they? It's quite this. It's a bit of a raunchy. I mean, we had a song called "Dangerous Animals" for a couple of years actually, I think, but it wasn't anything like this. And I think that was scrapped, and then like some sort of pieces of it were taken forward. Like that's like what I was saying before. Like I think that's has happened a lot until recently. There'd always be bits of things and like that, things came from like a lot of drum beats that would always be kind of going on in sound checks or whatever, and there'd always sort of be this like Rolodex of rhythm.
Do you have to maintain all that in your mind, Matt?
Yeah, I'm constantly searching.
And we'd finish up in positions where we were like, trying whole sets of lyrics over different kind of.
I mean, if you saw the journey of where some of these beats have been and gone and ended up, it's quite strange, really is.
Really is.
I mean, yeah, really is.
they sort of.
There's ones we tried out on the other second album. That one survived to this album. I'm not going to drop any names. But yeah,
Do you give the beats
mystery of
names?
it.
But that's sort of almost like always how it had worked, is that like sort of like that chopping and channeling like a hot rod. But then I don't know, more recently I think, and like with some of the ones on this album or like the last ones that were written for it, it was perhaps done in a little bit more of a kind of traditional way, I suppose, like writing a song and then seeing what's best for the song and sort of taking it down, doing it that way. But wait a minute, there was something I was going to say here. No, that's
And does Josh does a bit of singing on Dangerous Animals? Is that right?
yeah, he does a bit like the harmonies. That's something he really
Yes.
encouraged us with. Actually, like kind of Nick and Matt and Josh did a load of backing vocals. That's sort of I really want to get more into that world.
Yeah.
Too much to discuss over a bucket of balls.
Yeah, big fan of Rolodex of Rhythms. That's a great phrase.
Yes, and that kind of lies into that. I mean, it doesn't, and it doesn't. The Nick coming up with the beat because they're doing these different rhythms and they got this stuff. But then it's interesting as well that he tries different lyrics over the songs as well. Things
Yeah.
aren't as straightforward as sometimes you imagine them in your head, where you like think, okay, they make the song, and then Alex goes and sits and writes the lyrics somewhere. He's trying different lyrics over the song as they're doing it and stuff. That's very interesting. One thing to note there. Put some respect on Jamie Cook's name. Again, he's instrumental in the sound creation and experimentation and creating that. And it's interesting they referred to that sound that I described as a chink in a warehouse, like a glass chink, as the submarine sound. That kind of that's that underwater beep that a submarine makes in the water.
sonar thing.
It does actually sound like that, yeah. So and he recreated it live. So that's interesting. And interesting that they created a submarine sound just before Alex would end up doing a soundtrack to a film called Submarine. Life, oh life, oh life, oh life.
On to run the Slough branch.
But yeah, I love that. I just think Jamie gets so little credit. Last two songs, Dangerous Animals, Crying Lightning. Crying Lightning, the biggest song on this album. Jamie instrumental in pulling that song together. He's the linchpin. And that's why when people have this bullshit about Tranquility that Alex made the rest of the band do it, no, Jamie was in there, man, experiment. I guarantee you Alex might have been the core of that album, but all those weird guitar sounds and shit on the album, I guarantee they came from Jamie. Even look at something like Mirrorball in the video. He's just playing one note on a keyboard like for a bit of that song, isn't he? And that really, but he's doing it really dramatically in the video, just hitting the one note and then backing off and doing that. Like, you know, he's all over it, man. He is Arctic Monkeys. He is Arctic Monkeys.
Man.
Put some respect on his name, fan base. Should we have some shipping forecast news, which we forgot last week?
We've remembered to do this week. Let's do
I remember now.
Shipping forecast.
Well, it's interesting because I was gonna do Amanda Blank, but I'm having trouble finding her Instagram, and I hope she hasn't felt the need to come off Instagram because of the fan base. Because it's little Amanda Blank, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
It's not coming up anymore on any of my Instagram accounts, so I do hope she's not been forced off it by twats because I can't find her Instagram anymore. She's not popping up on my stories or out like she normally does. Well, that would be a shame, and that would be very depressing for the segment. But in the meantime, while Nick researches that, I will just share one from.
The link you followed may be broken, or the page may have been removed.
Oh no! So she might have been forced to delete it because I did notice that when they got married, the tabloids picked up the pictures a lot. But that will mean that so we're one down on the shipping podcast. We've in our great efforts to, which to be fair, we've not been on air for 3 months, so but not that we would have affected us talking good for 30 seconds about it would have affected a decision to delete Instagram or not. But Katie, I was going to go on Katie Cooks, but we're kind of this might be let me look at Louise's because we might have to find a new. We might have to stop this segment because she was Amanda was kind of the main Instagrammer with related stuff. Well, here we go. It was a very nice picture actually of Alex for the anniversary. A picture that Matt Helders took of Alex and Louise on a boat, and Alex has had his hair cut. He looks very handsome, and he's got a leather jacket on, and Louise is hugging him, and there's kind of a coastline behind them, and it's a beautiful picture, and it's for their anniversary, I believe. The message is in French, so I can't see. It says something or more, and it's got a birthday cake. Oh, it might have been. Oh, it was Alex's birthday. It was January 6th. Of course, it was. It was Alex's birthday. Yeah.
January, yeah.
Yeah, it was Alex's birthday. She had a picture of her and Alex, and she put "Thank you." Well, she put "Merci, Matt Helders, to have captured this tenderness. So there you go. It might not have been recent, actually. That could be an old picture she's shown, like with Alex's haircut before the. It looks like his hair around the start of this car period, actually, before it started to go out a bit.
We'll find out in 3 years' time when they do a new album, won't we?
It looks good though. When I saw it, I thought, oof. You know, when you penis twitches a little bit where it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Not that it shouldn't if
Always.
you're into that, but it shouldn't for me who identifies as a heterosexual male. Yeah,
almost exclusively does for me. Yeah.
So there you go. But yeah, we'll do a bit of research on that. But that would be fucking awful if she's had to delete Instagram because of our fans. I don't know what they'd be giving Helder shit about. I get like, it's usually we want it to be with Alexa for Alex, but what is it, Helder's? What are they having to go about Helder's about? I don't know. Maybe it's for other reasons. Actually, it may be wrong for me to assume it's because of Arctic Monkeys things that she's deleted it, but I just know what social media fans are like, so you know, unfortunately. Should we do our favorite lyric?
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Well, I was originally going to go with the one that I think is going to be your favorite lyric. So, but I think at the end of the song there, I changed it. I like when the acrobat fell off the beam, she broke everyone's heart, because A, I think it's a really cool line and that he's come up with, and B, I really like your metaphor and probably what it's about as well. So I am going with that.
Okay, well, I'll surprise you then, because so I planned to go with that, but then
did you?
At the end I decided on it's been long enough now, so let's make a mess, lioness.
I thought because of your reaction to as bashful as a tribal dance was the line that you were going to go for, because you showed great reaction to that moment in the lyric discussion.
Yeah.
No,
it was always either the acrobat line or make a mess, lioness. It was always going to be one of them two.
They are the like big moments of the song, aren't they? Those two. So yeah, very good, very good. Although I do really like the way he structures the racing stripe line as well. Really like that. So yeah, but as ever, you know, it's picking. There's so many to pick. But we do our favorite musical. I mean, we both know what this is going to be, I assume. But should we have our favorite musical moment? Maybe not. Maybe controversial.
Mad sound in your ear that make you get up and down.
Well, go on then. In case there's a difference here, what's yours?
So, I think I know what you're going to go for, but having watched several live versions of this, I can't stop thinking about the bass in the verse where it's just bass, drums, and vocals.
It was good. It was sexy on that clip
purely
as well.
based on the live versions. It sounds so much better than the live versions. I think a lot more meat to it.
Yeah, that was a very good live bass sound. But I'm going the drum breakdown solo, whatever you want to call it. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
Although shout out to the solo as well, because it's a very cool solo. Yeah, but I do have a hot take actually, just a little thing to say.
Lovely. Let's get on that immediately.
She flicks a red hot revelation off the tip of her toe.
So I think remember this was a song that didn't make it out of the tour for this album live. Never made it out of it. I think this is the best song to not make it out of its era live. So maybe so far, rather than looking ahead, because I can't remember. I can't remember which ones and stuff. But as it stands now, I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking which songs would I want in the set. I think because all the other like even If You Were There, Beware has made it out of its era. It popped up here and there. So I think this is the best one that just stayed in this era and never came out.
Oh, I think it may well be actually thinking about it. Yeah,
because My Propeller got out, right?
My Propeller was played.
Pushing Approaching has been out. That was out last tour twice, wasn't it as well? Pushing Approaching, he didn't he do it?
Yes,
did it a couple?
Yes, because I wouldn't have minded that.
Because he changed the go-kart line at the end. Remember?
Yeah, would you like me to knuckles up a go-kart? Oh, bad.
You're about as bashful as a tripod. I wouldn't. I can't think of any others that I'd want to hear.
You've also got songs like Monster Truck Front Flip that didn't even make it into the era.
Well, Tranquility is a funny old one. So when I get there, I'll probably change my opinion. But up until Tranquility, I can't think of any that didn't. Maybe someone. What on AM hasn't made it out of the era that I'd want to hear live?
None of them.
No, number one party. Did number one party anthem make it out of the era?
Yeah, that was played in America on the last
Yeah,
tour.
it was. Yeah. So yeah, maybe there isn't any on that because knee socks has been played, hasn't it? So yeah, I think actually
they did the Queens
trying
of
to think,
Stone
like,
Age style outro for a while.
what about doom 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 doom. I can't remember.
The Serenade.
Topless models. Has Reckless Serenade been out of the era?
I don't think it has been. I think
Because that would be
might have
one.
been
That'd be up
just-
there for me. That should be live. And as well, probably the song
Shame
before
That's
that.
Where
Metal
You're
One.
Wrong didn't stick around, didn't it? After
Well, that has made it
I
out of
thought
the era,
at
though,
start
hasn't
of
it?
the
Yeah.
tour. Yeah, it made it out of the era, yeah, but I would have loved that to have stuck around a bit more. In terms
Yeah,
of Suck
I
It
can't
and See
complain though
It,
because we got Suck It and See on Cornerstone, didn't we? So, you know.
Pile Driver Waltz, I think, came out on early in the AM tour, I think.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
so
there's only a few. There's not many that haven't sort of popped about from now on. So, I think that there's a song on this album that a lot of people would say maybe that I wouldn't say, but I wouldn't mind. Jules Hand's another shout because I don't think that made it out of this era, did it? I don't know though. It might have, but Jules Hands is one of them. You kind of expect that to not make it out though. It's kind of a very much of its time song, whereas this feels like it could still slot in. But of course, nobody would really know it. That wasn't. I don't know. The songs they tend to bring into it are ones that maybe even other people know. I don't know. When they're being generous, anyway. But yeah, no, I think it is. For me, it's the best song that we don't hear live, or we haven't heard live. I haven't heard this song live since 2009, and that upsets me. And I probably never will.
If we do get the rock album that we're anticipating,
you know what? I'd bloody love it.
There's a lot of scope for stuff to be brought back.
Yeah, I think if they did a rock album and they were going at a tour and they looked at this tour and went, right, we bought that stuff back last tour, so that was good of us. But like, if you were going to pair a rock album with another album to bring songs back, you would go, you know what, we never dip into. And I imagine Jamie's dying to dip into this one again because I always quote him as saying that he always felt when people were, saying they didn't like it and stuff, that this is the one in the catalogue that people would go back and go, oh no, we were wrong about that looking back now. Once you take the emotion out of the situation, it's a solid album. So I think if you made a rock album, you were putting a tour together, you'd go back to this and see what you could. What I'd hope is they go back and they go, If You Were There, Beware would work in this one. Dangerous Animals would work in this one. Potion Approaching would work in this one. Yeah, I'd love that.
Old Yellow Bricks would work in this one.
I could go and see them do a rock tour with just rock songs, the rockier songs, and then a couple of melodic ones in the middle of like Suck It and See and Cornerstone and shit. And then, yeah, I could lose all the tunes from the poppier sort of hits now. I've heard them. I've heard Teddy Picker enough now. I can do a tour without it.
Yeah.
I'd have to wait for a lesson again. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but yeah, come on, we've had it. Even 505, I could do that for a tour. Let's throw in That's Where You're Wrong instead of 505 for a tour. Go on, be bold.
It's such a shame That's Where You're Wrong didn't stick around on the last tour. That would have been great.
I'd also love them to throw some Tranquility songs in there that they don't play as well, that we're never going to hear live. I mean, you missed the tour, so you're definitely never going to hear them live. Some of them.
Yeah, I'm very upset with the
Was it
lack
that-
of love for Tranquility on the last tour. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, spot on. I agree. I think we agree. Get in touch and see if you agree. This has very nearly wrapped up the show. Series 3, episode 3. But this is the part of the show where we challenge AI to write a description for next week's show. Do we not? Or have I missed something?
No, we do. You're right.
Good.
You're right on
And
time.
this is why I put all my buttons in order before. And talking of buttons,
Yeah.
let's push them.
Push the button and we'll do the rest.
Dangerous Animals, a musical escapade where fools on parade frolic. Oh no, not Dangerous Animals. What am I saying? Secret Door. Sorry,
Secret Door.
A music. That's me. That was AI. That was my brain. AI is perfect. My brain didn't work. That's the problem. That's why it will kill us all. Secret Door, a musical escapade where fools on parade frolic, cavort, and conduct a sing-along so wild it would make a zookeeper blush. Picture this, a procession of fools marching in unison, carrying on for waiting eyes that are more appealing than a front row seat at a cat fashion show. The cat's back. The cat's back. The cat reference is back. Our protagonist, however, is no fool. No, she's the kind who'd rather swim out of tonight's phantasm than be hollowed by the stairs of the peanut gallery. In a Magnolia celebration attempted on a Wednesday night, because why wait for the weekend? Our heroine decides it's better to avoid a reputation as a miserable little tyke. After all, who needs that kind of baggage? As the secret door swings behind them, she says nothing, just giggling along, her arms folded, looking indignant, yet not showing any signs of leaving soon. And then, like a butler pushing on a bookshelf, comes the unexpected revelation. I, who was earlier reluctant, suddenly find myself embarrassed and corrected. Just listen to the lyrics now, the AI, isn't it? She's got lazy. This is, yeah. But how could she... Yeah, the secret door swings behind them again, and she's saying nothing, just giggling along. Right, you just listen to the lyrics now. Come on. So grab your imaginary top hats and join the fools on parade as we embark on a musical journey where the absurdity is as infectious as the sing-along. Because in the world of Arctic Monkeys, every day is a carnival. Well, that's interesting. And we're all invited to conduct the sing-along of fools on parade. So there you go. Very interesting. That we've got
good to hear that the cat's back.
Probably start editing the bits out where it just lists lyrics. But yeah, good to have the cat back because we missed it for Crying Lightning. But
yeah, good to have him
no,
back.
we Dangerous Animals bizarrely it missed the cat out for, which was an odd choice.
Yeah, of all of them, probably too obvious.
And it mentions lionesses in the song. Yeah, the eye went. That's too on the nose. I'm going to skip that one.
So we will be back next week with the aforementioned Secret Door. Don't forget to go
looking forward
on
to that.
our episode description and you can find the links to everything. You can like, follow, rate, review, subscribe, find all our social media stuff. We are going to... Do you want to introduce what we're going to play?
Yeah, we're going to play... Well, I was just going to say that I'm looking forward to Secret Door because I think of all the songs on this album, barring one other, even though I really love this song and I loved it at the time, this is probably the one that I don't go back to the most. Out of all of them, I rarely ever crack on Secret Door unless I'm listening to a whole album. So interesting for me to go back and enjoy. But I did really love it at the time. I just don't. I think with the melodic ones on this album, I'm so entrenched in Suck It and See that like sometimes forget about the melodic ones here. But yeah, we're going to be playing. This is one of Helder's View from the Afternoons that he used to do. The View From, that he used to do, where they're doing it, and part of it is they're doing a Dangerous Animals rehearsal. So if you're a subscriber, you'll see the video and you'll be blown away by the drums he's playing. But if you're listening, you'll be able to hear the drums better because the camera's right near them and you'll hear how amazing they are as well, I think. And they're a bit more, the kit's like a kind of practice kit in it. So it's it's got that kind of harsher sound, which is great as well. That kind of, yeah.
So we will play you out with that. Say goodbye to the nice people, Dan.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So here we are. If you've just joined us, you've already missed the acoustic leisure experiment live from the woods. Yeah, welcome back. This is another instalment of The View From. Currently in a car going up to a pub. Oh, wait a minute. There we can see the rest of the gang. There's Nick on the left, Jamie's about to get run over it seems, Alex on the right, and then Secret John with his hood up. John Action. He's on the bonnet, he's still on his skis, he's gonna have the top, he's breaking things. That's fine. I don't think anything cracked. It didn't sound too good. We'll cover it on insurance, we'll cover that, we'll cover the cost.
Post-match interview? What do you think?
Just having a break from rehearsals, which is going quite well. A couple of new ones ready for when we go out on tour in about a week's time or something. process of us just making our new T-shirt, which the making of is really only for the video, because it turns out I didn't really have to do it. But what it entails is me holding a snake wrapped around my hand, all for another T-shirt. I mean, for those of you that saw the last T-shirt from Australia, me with a poncho on and a Casio digital guitar, we thought what better to follow that than with a Californian corn snake. What are you up to there on that? Just a snake shoot for the next T-shirt. Done the Casio guitar.
What you did the next, did you say?
Been around the neck, got a bit tense. That's me, I'm on my own now in the car. Any damage? No damage. No damage from Jamie Cook's Calamity car climb.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.